Hi there, it's me, Chloe Manley. I am a nutritional therapist and yoga teacher who specializes in digestion. And today I wanted to explain to you a little bit about bloating. So, bloating is something that I see a lot in clinic. It's a really common goal for clients when they start working with me. And it's something that I actually suffered from myself really badly. So I really feel for people when they say that they look about 3 months pregnant by lunchtime, because I was one of those people, and it's incredibly uncomfortable and really gets in the way. So today I'm going to explain to you what my line of questioning is with clients who are suffering from bloating, and give you my 5 top tips to help ease your symptoms of bloating, and none of them involve giving up your favorite foods, which you might be pleased to hear, because that's often the case, is that people start removing foods from their diet, but it doesn't actually improve their bloating symptoms, or it gives them a little bit of relief, but it doesn't get rid of it entirely. um, so I'm going to give you lifestyle tips that will hopefully see some improvement in your bloating. So the first thing that I want to understand when a client starts working with me and they say that they have bloating is when they are getting bloating. So a little bit of bloating might be quite normal, for the stomach to kind of rise and fall throughout the day when we're eating is a perfectly normal part of digestion, as food and water comes into our digestive system. But it's when it's more persistent. So when you completely balloon up and you really do look like you're pregnant within an hour or two of eating, or maybe it's happening further on down the day. So it's by the end of the day that you tend to look really expanded in the belly and it's really uncomfortable. So if that kind of thing is happening and it's happening regularly, that's something that I want to dig a little deeper into to understand the root cause. So timing is everything with this. And some clients will say that it happens, before they've left the table already, they're having to like unbutton their jeans. So that can be really helpful because it can guide us a little bit on where gas is being produced. So if it's quite soon after eating, I'd say within about the first hour, that can indicate that there is an imbalance in the stomach and the small intestine, because that's where food is still going to be. So that's where there's fermentation happening and gas is being produced. If it's a couple of hours after eating, that can indicate that there is an imbalance further on down the digestive tract, so closer towards the colon, so the large intestine. And if there's lots of gas being produced there, then that means that you're going to be getting those bloating symptoms about an hour and a half to 2 hours after eating, or maybe on towards the latter part of the day. So that can really help us because it can guide us into what kind of functional testing that we might do and where we're going to focus our attention, if it being the stomach and the small intestine, so supporting balance there, or if we're going to focus things further on down the line in the large intestine. Another thing I want to understand is, are there particular food triggers that are causing their symptoms of bloating? So like I said, sometimes people can be really clear on this. They're like wheat, the bread, pasta, pizza, dairy. Those are really common foods that I see are causing problems for people. So that can be helpful in itself, because it can be that, again, tell us where there might be an imbalance in the digestive tract. Or it might be that people have absolutely no idea on what's causing their symptoms at all. It might be that actually kind of those healthier foods are causing symptoms. So things like the broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, those kinds of foods. And with those kinds of foods, it can just be that perhaps there's a little bit of a shift happening in the microbiome as you start to eat healthier. So those beneficial bugs are starting to flourish and there's some gas being produced. Or it could be that if it is in those kind of wheat type based foods and dairy type taste foods, it could be that the small intestine perhaps isn't working that optimally, and a bit of a what could be perceived as an intolerant to those foods, because the small intestine isn't working as it should be. It's not able to absorb nutrients, but instead food is kind of sat there and it's fermenting, and then that's causing an issue. And that's something called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. and perhaps that's causing the issue. So again, if there's a particular food trigger, that can again give us a little bit of insight as to whereabouts there's an imbalance down the digestive tract. So once I'm looking at that, so the timing of the bloating, any particular food triggers, those two give us insight. The next thing I want to be thinking about is, okay, well, what is your mealtime looking like? Are you someone who is at your desk, eating on the go, scrolling on Instagram, talking to their friend, trying to do and fit food in around a million other activities? Because if you are doing that, I'm really not surprised that you're getting some symptoms of bloating, because digestion happens, as we know, in parasympathetic nervous tone. Okay, so you need to be restful, you need to be relaxed, you need to be calm when you're eating. And yes, that might include multitasking, might include, maybe having some kind of a Zoom call with your friend during lockdown, so you're not eating by yourself. But it wouldn't include scrolling through your news feed where, a really kind of stress-inducing image or headline might appear that you have no control over. Okay, so you want to be eating when you feel relaxed, away from screens ideally, unless, like I said, it's keeping up that connection with people and with friends and family. Maybe the TV's involved, maybe it's not, but again, is it conducive to calmness, or is it likely to give you, kind of put you in that stress response? So these are things that you need to think about. One thing I find really common with my clients who are parents, and I can definitely say that this is what happens to us sometimes, is that eating with kids can be really blooming stressful. So I actually kind of stopped having mealtime with Maisie for a short amount of time because I just found it too stressful, and I found like I was getting IBS type symptoms returning because I just wasn't calm and relaxed whilst trying to feed her when we first started the weaning process. I was really scared about choking as well, so I was feeling really anxious at every mealtime, and so I just decided not to eat with her. And that could be something that you can do, or having a much lighter meal when you're with the kids, so you're still there, you're still present at the table, but you're not going to be putting a really heavy meal into your digestive system when your digestive system just isn't ready to digest food. Okay, and then another questioning that I have around mealtime is, are you chewing your food? Because if you're not chewing your food properly, then you're going to get symptoms further down the line. Okay, so good digestion actually starts in the head. So when we start thinking about food, that produces saliva. So if you sit now, close your eyes and visualize your favorite meal, you might start to notice that your mouth starts to water. You start to get more saliva in the mouth, and then that has trickle-on effects down the rest of the digestive tract. So your stomach will start producing stomach acid and other enzymes. Your pancreas will kick in and start producing their juices. The liver will start to kick in, and the gallbladder as well. So all of these steps are really important, and they're all really vital for digestion. Okay, so if you don't give yourself the time to, one, get that parasympathetic tone, so your body is feeling relaxed, and then start to chew your food properly, then you're definitely going to get symptoms further down the line, like I said. So you want to be able to chew. That's a mechanical process, mechanical part of digestion, where you're breaking down the foodstuffs. But that process of chewing it breaks down the food to create a larger surface area. Okay, so when you've got that larger surface area, it's just basic science, is that then there's a bigger area for the saliva, which contains enzymes to cover, and for those enzymes to start breaking down food. Okay, so I use this analogy of a pearl necklace as a protein. So proteins are foods that we eat. When we chew, what that does is it unclips the clasp with that pearl necklace. Okay, we swallow the food. When it's in the stomach, hydrochloric acid and enzymes start to snip through the necklace, breaking the necklace into smaller parts. Okay, once it goes through the stomach into the small intestine, more enzymes again start to individually snip. Okay, so chewing is really vital, because if you don't unclip that clasp, nothing else further down the line is going to be able to do it. Okay, so all of the enzymes, all of the juices that are produced, they all have their specific roles, and they all need to happen in the correct order in order for proteins to be properly absorbed. Okay, so you can be spending all the money you want on really nice, organic, fresh food, but if you're not giving yourself the time to really digest them properly, then you're not going to be absorbing it properly. So it's just going to not only cause symptoms, but also be a bit of a waste on all the time that you spend preparing your meals. So what are the recommendations that I give to people? Some of them we've covered already. The first one would be to ensure that we're eating in a really calm and relaxed environment. Okay, so like I said, if that involves not being around the children, then make a quick change. Okay, the next one is taking 10 breaths. So this is a really nice way to move you into parasympathetic tone. If that's not familiar to you, or you're a bit confused as to what parasympathetic tone is, then have a look at the other videos that I've done up on here, and there are a few that focus on this, one that talks about saliva in particular, and another one that talks about a 2-minute breathing exercise to get you into parasympathetic tone. So it doesn't need to take long, or you know, be a huge task. It can just take as short a time as 2 minutes before a meal. The next is to chew, chew, chew. So I don't like to count how many chews I'm doing. It's not something I like to tell clients to do either. Instead, what I like to think about is, if someone was to ask you to spit out your mouthful just before you're about to swallow, would you be able to tell what that food is? So you shouldn't be able to tell what the food is. Okay, it should be really well masticated, look a lot like a paste, and that kind of shows that you're chewing food effectively. And the amount of mouthfuls, or the amount of chews that you need to take, is going to differ depending on the type of food that you're eating. That's a really nice question that you can use during your next meal to see and assess what your chewing is like. The next recommendation I often use in clinic is to incorporate more bitter foods. Okay, so bitter foods, example of this would be apple cider vinegar, lemon, lime, cauliflower, broccoli, rocket, chicory, those kinds of foods, you know, that have that bitter taste to them. What those bitters do are they actually increase all of those digestive juices we've been talking about. So they increase saliva, they increase get the stomach acid going, get enzymes going further down the line, and bile as well in the liver and gallbladder. So really vital thing, aids to good digestion. Okay, so a bitter food, so a nice salad of, you know, rocket or endive dressed in a little bit of apple cider vinegar and olive oil. It's a really nice thing to have, especially before a heavy meal. And my last recommendation is just to take a brisk walk after eating. So about 15 minutes after a heavy meal, a few laps around the block, that's all you need to do, or just around the living room if you've already had your quota of outdoor time. And studies have actually shown that that really improves digestive symptoms in people who are suffering from IBS. So I hope that you found that helpful. Please do give us a comment below and let me know what you think, or like or share and save for another time. It's really helpful for me to get a little bit more exposure here on Instagram, so I'd really appreciate it if you could do it. And I hope you have fun putting together all these recommendations.